Hi, welcome. It's time for Wednesday's town hall and campaign update by me, Susan Maude Buchser-Lochocki, or Susan Buchser for short. As you know, I'm still a candidate for President of the United States. I did not concede the election, and I will not concede it. My lawsuit is still pending with the Supreme Court, so I am waiting for them to make an announcement any day, hopefully. Anyway, welcome. So this is a special special town hall also for people overseas and people around the country, but also people overseas. So our citizens in the country and our citizens abroad, and people married to U.S. citizens here and abroad. This is a special shout out to all of you, especially my daughter, Jessie. I know what it's like to live in this situation where you have a president who is doing crazy things and you're living abroad. So first off, everybody needs to try to stay safe. And you can still keep your opinions and everything like that. The one thing that I can really tell you is that the media is covering one thing, and reality is on the White House website. So I need everyone who is living abroad to kind of ignore the news. Go to the website of the White House and see what the president is actually saying and doing, because sometimes it's not matching up. With that said, I will say I just was there at the website and I noticed a couple of things. First off, the thing about Israel and Gaza is not there. So right now that's the media saying things. And, I don't know. And I don't really want to be one who is making up stories. But this is Gaza being flattened, and California being flattened, and Hawaii and the fires there last year being flattened. These are all like resort areas. And so, I don't know about you, but it could be that Trump, he is a resort maker, right? So maybe he's trying to finagle a deal for himself. Could that be? I don't know. I'm a little suspicious about all these fires and where they're located and what it could mean. So the fact that we're removing aid from some places too, and now we're going to give it to Israel to rebuild Gaza, I find that a little suspicious. So you around the world are not off being concerned, because things are not 100% what they seem. If he's giving a speech and the information's there, then the information's there. But what actually he says and what is recorded for White House business is sometimes two different things. So be aware and be cautious. Get your facts straight before you get into an argument with your neighbors and the people you're meeting up with. I'm very sorry that you have to be a little ambassador to the world for some of these things that are going on right now. And perhaps you don't understand them. And that's why I really suggest you go to the White House website and read the actions and the news that's coming out of the White House, because a lot of it is different than what the media is portraying. Now, another thing that might be a little startling for you watching from abroad, or especially people in Europe. Okay, in Europe, the UN is a really big deal. Because at the time of the UN, there was no European Union, so you were all separate countries dealing with each other and not united at all. But since the UN, since the beginning of this century, you have united yourselves. And so it could be even that the UN is less important to you also as Europeans. But it still is trying to have sway in like third world nations. And I will say, from talking to different people from all over the world, it is not doing and living up to its promise. I think, truthfully and sadly, we had already a thing in place called the League of Nations. And for some reason, it was disbanded. And then suddenly the United Nations was. Now, why we had to change from one organization to the other, especially since they're using the same building, in certain circumstances, especially like in Geneva, I don't know what's going on. It was created to create this disaster called Israel, so that the U.S. would have like an ally there. And it did that. It created Israel, which is really a shame, because that's when all the problems in the world started. So, the UN has not ever lived up to the reputation of the League of Nations. And as far as the United States goes, we don't really need it. We are united. And in North America, we are quite united in our little countries here. What the UN doesn't deal a lot with is Latin America, is South America. Where is the activity down there? Or in Asia. I don't see it really dealing with Vietnam and Cambodia and all these other countries in Asia. So the UN is a farce. The only thing it ever does is cause problems in and around Israel with the Palestinians. So I think it's time that we actually disband it. So I am fine with leaving the WHO, because they are not doing what they promise. The only thing that the UN at this point has the authority to do anyways is gather information about the countries and health of the people around the world. And I think it could stay and be that. But to be like somebody who's saying, you're not good and you're not good, and we don't like you, and you guys have to be nice to each other, it's not doing anything. And then bringing food into devastated areas is not working. Plus, your people were being killed right and left, so in the Gaza area and stuff. So, it's just, it's not working the way it should. And we need to reorganize the world in a different way, because one figurehead in charge of like the whole world is not acceptable. We've seen that many times also in movies, portrayed that, some greedy person gets there and gets too much power, and then all hell breaks loose, right? So it's time to rethink how we want to deal globally, governing each other, and then the U.S., North America, and South America need to work more together, I think. South America is like, they've got so many wonderful things down there that we're not even utilizing in the United States. So it's time for the Americas to work together too. But we don't need a body from Geneva telling us what to do. And I mean, the headquarters technically is in New York, but I think that's just a vacation place for rich people who happen to get the assignment to be at the UN, from their country. So it's just not serving its purpose, sadly. It's time to change that. I don't think the League of Nations went in this direction. I think that they were canceled because they wanted to create this new Christian organization to promote Christianity around the world, which I don't think is a good idea. What we need is mental health. And so with that said, I want to read my statement on living a meaningful life. One second. Okay. So, and while I'm here, is anybody have any questions about what is going on in Washington and want to discuss it? Because that's what I'm here for. Okay, so this is really, our purpose on the planet, why we're here. And if we all keep this close at heart, we can't go wrong. We are all successes, first off. It took a lot to put you here on the planet. It took a lot to get you to your age you are. And it took a lot to get you a mobile phone where you can watch me talk. So if we follow these instructions, we will all have lovely lives that we can be proud of. Laugh often and much. Win the respect of intelligent people and the affection of children. Earn the appreciation of honest critics. Endure the betrayal of false friends. Appreciate beauty. Find the best in others. Leave the world a bit better. Leave the world a bit better. Whether by a healthy child, a garden patch, a redeemed social condition, to know even one life has breathed easier because you have lived. This is to have lived a meaningful and successful life. Now, most of us do that every year. So every year we are living meaningful and successful lives. And so why can't we keep doing that, but respecting borders and boundaries? Why are we constantly at war, battling over who's right, whose God is right? We need to remember we are important. We are the world. We are life being better. So, I don't think the UN is living up to its promise. So I am fine with pulling the plug on the UN and getting the US out of it. I think Europe does need it and should keep it. and it can be their thing. We don't need their headquarters any longer in New York, and we can let Europe and Africa work together, because that's really what it's doing. It's all about Europe and Africa. So and the Middle East. So let's let it work together there, if that's what it chooses to do. But as far as a governing body of the world, I don't think so. I will say I'm concerned with the fact that the U.S. wants to go so fast forward into new technology. And I know robots are around the corner and everything, and we got to keep pace with everybody. And, on the other hand, there are many countries that have decided to opt out of that. And they still remain countries, and they still remain their integrity and their respect. So do we really have to keep up? Do we have to keep up with the Joneses? Is it okay to sit back and be a second country, not a first country? I mean, we don't have the wealth, the U.S. does not have the wealth that European countries have, that the EU has. So we are not the same. We are, anyways, a second country, technically. It's okay to let other countries go forward. We do want to keep militarily an equal balance between what others are doing and what we are capable of doing. But I think we have lost a lot by not keeping ourselves closer to nature. The more we sanitize, the more allergies we are creating, the more our children cannot live in the natural world. And this is a big problem. We are nature. We need nature. If we kill nature, we kill ourselves. So we're already doing that in many places, which I discovered driving around the country this past year. We have lots of prairies that I think were once forests. And if we don't start planting trees soon, we will soon see more and more of a desert. So plant trees this spring, everybody, in April. Get out and plant at least 5 trees for just your life. If you have a family of 5, you need to plant 5, 10, 15, 20, 25 trees on your property alone this year. Then get out to a prairie and plant some other trees there. We need trees, folks. Otherwise, we're going to have deserts everywhere. And if there's a salty area, we need redwoods there. Redwoods like salt. So put them near salty areas, like along the highways. We need evergreens by the highways, especially redwoods, because they like the salt, and they will help firm up the ground with their little pine needles that drop. So plant redwoods and other ones. I mean, redwoods grow really fast. So plant those if you need change quickly. And you can plant other ones too. The great thing too about redwoods is they're fireproof, apparently. So they don't burn like other trees. So let's start thinking about how to make our roads better, because we got huge potholes again in West Virginia. It's really hard to drive when it's raining because you can't see them, and some are very deep, about a half of a foot to a half of a foot to 3/4 of a foot, some of them. And I'm just like swerving all over the road. Probably the person behind me thinks I'm drunk while driving, but I'm just trying to keep my house intact while I drive. So this is not acceptable. I mean, isn't there a way, like when you got like a warmer day, then can't you somehow go out and put something in them to fill them so that we don't kill our vehicles on the roads? I don't understand how this can be acceptable. And there are other countries who have snow too, and somehow manage to keep their roads okay. So we need to learn how to build better roads, but it starts with planting evergreens along the roadsides, because the pine needles somehow work with the soil to keep it solid. Leaves do not do the same thing. Leaves are different than pine needles. So we need to plant some really good pine and get it going in a good way. So that's some of my advice for right now. Yeah, I haven't been to the congressional website, which I guess this week I'll focus on that and maybe give an update on Sunday at my town hall then. I've still got that lawsuit pending, so election reform is high on the list. The one thing you need to do is the Buchser-Lochocki Groundhog, who gives a prediction. I was really shocked. I accidentally posted the wrong one, the wrong Groundhog Day event on Groundhog Day this year. When I was looking for something on YouTube, here on Facebook, I posted it. And I took it down, but then I did watch it a little bit. It was the one from 2024, not the one from 2025, which is this year. And in the Buchser-Lochocki announcement that they made for 2024, the guy made a joke that the Groundhog was saying that he's hoping for a lot of write-in votes, along with some other things, and everybody chuckled. So I guess it seems that Pennsylvania is fully corrupt, and even it goes to Groundhog Day, that they know that write-in candidates are worthless, and that they just are there to take votes or to provide a vote for whoever that election area decides to give that vote. So this is really disgusting, that even corruption, especially in elections, is funny and acceptable. This is your country, USA. Is this really what you want to portray to the rest of the world? That corruption is okay? That taking write-in votes and giving them to somebody else is okay in Pennsylvania and many other states? Is that really what the people in power think is okay? I mean, I don't know. They must be Christian, and is that a Christian morality? To lie, cheat, and steal, and then ask for forgiveness later? I don't think he was an atheist, because atheists know you're as good as your word. And if you don't have integrity as an atheist, then you don't have a name. But Christians seem to be able to get away with it, because they just ask for forgiveness. Then they say a few Hail Marys and Our Fathers, and all is good again. They can go and lie, cheat, and steal again. So shame on you, the people who did the announcements and the writing of the document for the Groundhog Day from 2024. You embarrassed yourself. You are a cheater. You know that there's cheating going on, and you accept it, and you even think it's okay. You certified it by putting it in there that it's okay. I mean, it's also a group of men, so maybe this is a man thing. Maybe men cheat, lie, and steal? Is that how it goes? And it's only women who don't? I don't know. I mean, I think there are men out there who don't lie, cheat, and steal. But I'm not a man, so maybe I'm wrong. Does being stupid like that, to announce it like that, go hand in hand with being a man? I mean, men, this is your reputation too on the line. Think about it. I'm just speechless. And I say shame on you. There's no morals. That was not moral. It's not moral to steal people's votes and change them. I'm sorry. And Donald Trump, you know there's fraud in the system. My Secretary of State said there were over 380,000 names that were wrong. In Texas, we had over 1 million. These were numbers reported last year, the year before, and the year before that. And yet we're still going forward with this registering to vote list that nobody is checking on. There's no checks and balance on it. So again, it's just cheating sanctioned by the men of our country. Shame on you, men. Shame on you. So, you know, I thought I knew how justice worked. I thought I knew how our country worked. I thought our country was doing good. I thought we had a good country. But I guess I'm wrong. So I am doing my part to bring up the moral side of the United States and make it a more moral and constitutional country. I'm doing my best. Are you? If you sit on the sidelines and you blame other people, then you have nobody to blame but yourself. And if we all step up, we might actually be able to bring change. But right now, we are not living constitutionally whatsoever. And this is unacceptable. So I call on the Supreme Court to give me an answer to my lawsuit. And then we need a new election with integrity. No cheating. And then we are coming up on our 250th anniversary of our country, of our independence from England. I don't know if Donald Trump is planning on anything, or maybe he's planning on starting the country over again. I don't know. We need a new constitution, that's for sure. The way ours is right now is not acceptable. And, but I need the U.S. public to help rebuild our Constitution and rebuild our country. We are a lost country. We're catering to bullies. Any country that has something like Homeland Security, CIA, NSA, FBI, U.S. Marshal, Secret Service, and then Army, Navy, Air Force, Marines, militia in every state. Then we got state police, we got highway police, we got federal police, we got border patrol, we got National Guard, we got Coast Guard, yeah, I mean, it's true. Men are so bad that we need all of this. But we also need something for women. And just because we're good doesn't mean that you can forget us. And that's why our country is failing now, because you have forgotten the women. If we've got all this money for war and protection from men protecting us from men protecting men from men, they're not really even protecting women anymore. They just go off and do their own thing. Then we've already lost. We don't have a soul. But we don't. I mean, like I said, Pennsylvania, if you're going to laugh about cheating like it's perfectly normal, we've already lost. Okay, so Jesse, I am sorry that this is our country. We should be ashamed of ourselves. We were once a neutral country 120 years ago, and World War I broke out, and we got involved. And it might have been right at the time, but we didn't need a lot of these other wars. After World War II, there was no need to have these other wars. We need to go back to being neutral, being leaders in integrity, not in lies. Shame on us. Shame on my elders for bringing us here. So I am sorry that this is the state of the United States. It's not at all living up to what it should or could be. And it breaks my heart. Okay, so I'm gonna continue doing what I'm doing. Fighting criminality, corruption, as much as I can. Don't forget to report to the FBI or CIA or somebody if you see anything wrong, especially if you know your vote wasn't counted. Report it to the FBI. Report it to the CIA. They have websites where they have pages where you can send in your information so they can look it up and maybe do something about it. I mean, I don't know if people have already been reporting this stuff and it's just not being handled, or if it's new information for them. But we don't know until we try. And they don't know it exists until we try. So please report any corruption you see by a government official. Report it. Especially in the election cycles, report it. Please. If we don't report it, we'll have no change. You understand? We are a country of the people. Not of the Democrats and Republicans, but we've been taken over by them. They've made sure to make everything so that only they can be in power. And this is also unacceptable. So, I wish I had better news for us. I don't. I do wish us truth, honesty, and friendship. Thank you for stopping by. If you want to find out more about my lawsuit, you can go to my website, susan4usa.com. That's Susan, the number 4, usa.com. And you can find out more about me and my campaign. And I guess that's about it for now. I wish you a safe day wherever you are.